SNOWTRAX is sponsored by Skidoo Snowmobiles, Yamaha, revs your heart, MBRP Performance Exhaust, built for the victory lap, and by iPone Lubricants, exclusively distributed by Parts Canada.
We had the opportunity to hang out with one of today's most influential female trail ambassadors and all-around Skidoo aficionado, MJ Thompson.
I love everything about snowmobiling. There's so much to love about it. It's everything from that feeling when you push the throttle, to the people that you go out and meet and talk to the fireside meals, to even just like being bushed at the end of the day and everybody sitting around talking about what happened for the day. It's a big family, it's a passion, there's excitement, there's just everything to love about it. I think I was born into it. When I was growing up in Bruce County, we always had snowmobiles. We had a couple old snow cruisers, and for the kids, we had a couple mini brutes, and I just loved it, like right from a very young age, and I was always trying to keep up with my brothers. How did I get into racing? When I moved to Muskoka, I had a 92 plus, and it was just me. I didn't know that many people up here, and I met some friends that snowmobiled. And they thought, we're gonna get brand new snowmobiles and go snowcross racing. And I'm like, that's dumb. You're gonna spend that much money on new sleds and race? What? No. But in order that year at the CSRA, you could pay entry to get in for the year or buy a membership. Or if you were a racer, you got more free stuff plus free entry than you did if you just paid entry as a spectator. So I signed up to race just so I could get my cases of oil and my free belts and my NTN bearings. And sure enough, we show up at the first race, which I believe was in Lindsay in 1998. And it was great. They threw me on a sled. Wasn't my snowmobile. Boyfriend's hat and goggles, and I went out there and I won. So that's how I got into racing. It was almost by accident. I never would have thought that's who I would have been. But the adrenaline you get from that first race, that carried me through another 10 years of racing. I just loved it. Everything about racing improves who you are. It's unbelievable because it teaches you not just how to ride and the skills of riding and managing things, but it's also about public relations. It's about the team, it's about the family, it's about everything. So I can't even say it just applies to trail riding and skills on the trail. To me, it's a pathway that teaches you skills just to deal with other people and work as a team, and that passion everybody has. How did I get involved in vintage parts? When I was racing, the original guys I started racing with, they realized that they weren't very good at it early on in the game, and I ended up going to the races all by myself. It would usually be me, my dog, and my pickup truck. And through that, people saw me working away and they reached out to help me. And that's how I met Bill. He had Northland Recreation at the time. And he was very generous enough to put me on a snowmobile. That was the first time I ever rode a ZX chassis. So they put me on a snowmobile and I raced in Horseshoe. And that's how I met Bill. And from there, Bill and I just kind of got to know each other a lot better, and we decided to go into business together. And that's when we started our vintage parts business, where we distribute OEM obsolete Skidoo parts primarily to the dealer network. I can tell you the exact moment where I decided I love vintage sleds. I have friends with a hunt camp, and they would come up once in the winter, and I would usually ride my snowmobile out to get to them, because in order for them to get to their camp, they would walk in with a toboggan. Like, you couldn't drive in. So we didn't have much snow that year. I couldn't ride my snowmobile in. So Bill said, tell you what, I'll give you my Elan. Bogey suspension, you'll be good to go. So he actually had a sweet 96 Elan that he gave me, and I rode that thing into this hunt camp, and I've never had so much fun. Like, I was just grinning the whole time, just like, I couldn't believe it. And when I gave the Elan back to Bill the next day, I said to him, I need an Elan. And that's how it all started. Oh, my current sled collection. So obviously I have an Elan in my sled collection, but I think I've gone through a couple of them. Right now I have a 72 Elan 250 single with a bogey suspension. And, you know, it's a pretty little sweetheart. But a little bit of an upgrade from that would be my 68 Olympic with a 320. A little bit of upgrade, still single cylinder, because I like to stick to those. But you get a longer track on it, and you get a little bit better handling. And then from there, I got my 72 TNT. It's a 292 single, and that is a weapon. That's 22 horsepower. And it will go 70 miles an hour almost, so that's pretty sweet, really. I love that snowmobile. I think that might actually be the true pride of the fleet, even though, you know, I like to think that Becky, my 88 Safari that does all the workhorse and the grooming and stuff, I like to think she's the pride of the fleet, but it might be my TNT. And then I just picked up a 1980 Blizzard 5500. I ripped around on that for the first time recently, and I'm loving it. This year I'm riding a 2022 MXZX 850. I put a couple accessories on it, our skid plate. I put on the accessory high beam lighting, which I love. I have put on the glove box extension with the cell phone holder and a USB outlet, which I don't think I'll ever live without now that I have it. I've put on wind deflector mirrors, and that's especially good for riding in Quebec, and handlebar muffs. And I put on a medium windshield, which with the side air deflectors, which is my favorite windshield. I don't like to have something too high. Seat bag, tonneau ice scratchers, Skidoo knee pads on my panels, and the E-Link system, which I'm loving. So I am a trail ambassador, and that is very unique. And I think I'm insanely honored, because that's where I actually get to go out and meet people. And the best part about it is you hear how everybody else rides and what it means to them, and it's all different. But that's what I love the most, is getting out and meeting the people and finding out how everybody else rides and how they enjoy it. Everybody's got a little different twist on how they ride, who they go with, how fast they go, where they go, maybe how far they don't go. It's great, because I think every ambassador they bring on brings something very unique and different to the table. And when I met all the ambassadors, that's the one thing that shocked me the most. We're all so different, but we share a common passion. I definitely bring like an expertise and a hands-on approach from a woman's perspective that maybe they didn't have before, and especially in the trail riding segment. Like, there's a lot of women wanting to be more confident in that part of everything, and they're used to their husbands maybe or their boyfriends moving the sleds around and doing that for them. And we don't need them. We have all the tools we need to do it ourselves. So it's nice to be able to bring that to the party. I've seen a lot more women into snowmobiling in the last 5-10 years. And I think a lot of that is because we can't. Like, why wouldn't we? But, you know, we have all the resources we need out there to go out and do what we want. For someone like myself, it comes naturally, because my dad always just gave me the tools, whether it was a trailer or whatever it was, and said, just figure out how to get this from there, or change that, or do it. So stuff like that comes naturally to me, and there was never a doubt in my mind that I can't do that stuff. But there's a lot of women out there that don't realize how easy it is. And you realize what it's really all about. Everybody can enter this sport. It's so easy to enter into, it's so easy to have fun, and women are in it. It's a great place for us. What do I say to somebody that just wants to become a role model in snowmobiling? Just be yourself. Go out there, have fun, help other people have fun, and be respectful of everything around you and grateful that you have access to this wonderful sport. Like, it's just great.
SNOWTRAX is sponsored by Princess Auto. Make it work.
Over the past 10 years, FXR's product and product lines have changed drastically to include not only race and trail gear for the winter, but now also full lines of snowboard and mountain riding gear, as well as a full lineup of motocross gear for the summer. And while yes, the product lines have changed, a few things about the company itself have stayed exactly the same. FXR gear is still designed by passionate riders for passionate riders with a focus on functionality, quality, and style. They have also continued to support top-level athletes.
My relationship with FXR is started, I'd say, off and on since 2006. We started working together. Back when, you know, snow gear was the big ticket item, and they were just starting to get off in the moto. And when I was in motocross big, I called Milt, and it's such a family-oriented business. And just same thing, like it's like they have everything you need from every season. So for me, it was awesome to have the same gear and the colors. I love the brights. Like I like the flashiness. Also, they make great kid stuff down too, which at that point they never did. And I never thought that I'd have to ever think like that to what my kids are gonna wear. And now me and him are both flashy in the backcountry.
When it comes to athletes who can best speak to FXR's success in each of these markets, there isn't a better choice than Brock Hoyer. While he is probably best known for winning X Games Snowbike Cross in 2017, Brock is also an extremely talented mountain rider and has raced motocross since he was 14 years old.
The direction that FXR has done for my career has been amazing. Bringing me out to races, helping with support, the safety and technology and the gear for racing and or for backcountry. Honestly, I could say with confidence that I don't think I'd be where I am today without them. So yeah, it's everyone I've worked with and said from day one, I wouldn't have picked a better group of people to work with if you could even bet on it. Like it just, everything fell into, and I always believe in that, as everything happens for a reason, and I feel like it was like fate to work with certain people or a lot of these great companies that I do already. It just fits, and you don't even think about the options of somewhere else because you just know this works so well, and be thankful for where it's brought me. Of course, the waterproofness, being dry is one thing. Their insulated stuff, keeping warm. The two important things for me is color, being seen. Blacks and grays just blend in so much, and a lot of the old gear companies, that's all they did. And now you can pick guys across like kilometers of mountain range and know who it is, or know if it's your riding buddy or your partner. The second thing for me is that all the kids' gear is sold with fast technology, float assist. So for me, it's just one extra thing that I know that if my kid, heaven forbid it happened, but we were riding across the lake and he went in, that at least I know he has some kind of buoyancy built into his gear. There's lots of things like that that they just make you reassured that at the end of the day, this stuff's safety gear. They make it fancy and it looks beautiful, but it's to keep you safe in the backcountry or trail riding with friends. And honestly, it does that. A lot of great stuff gets made out of country, and we all wear it and love it. And to have something that's built and made and designed and engineered in my home country, and I even get to help with it, that's pretty cool to see, and how well it does in the global scale. Milt's energy in this company has brought it to where it is right now. Honestly, us as athletes, we all put our pitches in of things that we might be able to improve, or things that might be super awesome. And they take it in consideration. Some stuff they use, some stuff they don't. Some of the weird, wacky things we suggest might cost too much to make, but they'd be super cool to have. But a guy like Milt knows what he can do and can't do, and with the timing that in the industry and how things are getting more creative now with shipping demands and manufacturing backlogs. So with his insights, he's grown the company and we've been able to help. For a day-to-day snowmobiler to snowbiker, my gear selection doesn't change at all. I'm warm and dry in all my gear Honestly, gloves might be a thing. I might go to a little thinner glove just so I can feel the bars on the snow bike. But honestly, the day-to-day stuff, nothing changes. I think the biggest thing with FXR is they're just always wanting to make things better, and making it better is better for me because it makes my life easier as an athlete, as a rider, as a consumer. I think that's why we all stay where we are. It's just an amazing company to work with, and there's more to come.
SNOWTRAX has been sponsored by Polaris, Think Outside, Yamaha, Revs Your Heart, the regions of Quebec by the sea. Discover our ride ideas. FXR Racing, maximum versatility for all conditions. And by Arctic Cat Snowmobiles.
The SNOWTRAX team decided it was time to revisit something enduring, something familiar, and something genuinely iconic. This is the model year 2022 Skidoo Grand Touring Limited. The sled first appeared in the late 1980s in the PRS trailing arm chassis. From there it moved into the F-body, then the CK3 chassis, then the S-body, then the ZX platform, and then the original Rev and Rev XP chassis, and now finally into the G4 platform. That's quite a resume for any sled to carry on its back. With a lineage as long and as storied as the Grand Tourings, there has to be something that's a constant. Oh yes, my wise and insightful snowmo friends, there is a constant. It is the Grand Touring's ability to capably carry two in complete comfort. Okay, that's the enduring underlying premise of the Grand Touring. However, the plot thickens as we look closer at the two-up paradigm, so capably modeled by the new G4 GT. For the GT Limited to achieve incomparable passenger comfort while preserving functionally active rider ergonomics, there has to be a well-thought-out rear suspension system. Thankfully, and to Skidoo's credit, the GT Limited uses what we have consistently knighted as the best version of the now incredibly popular and smooth riding R-Motion 137-inch skid. The secret to the Grand Touring's ridiculous ride quality is in the AirSpring tunable rear suspension. This suspension system is second only now to Skidoo's new Smart Shocks. So say you're heading out with your significant or insignificant other for a day on the trails. Let's say your passenger and possibly you have enjoyed one too many cheeseburgers and poutine at your fave eatery. This might be cause for concern on many sleds with two-up seats. On the GT Limited, the issue doesn't even blip the needle on the comfort meter. Select a notch or two higher air pressure by simply toggling the air control system, and you're back to super plush, bottomless ride quality.
Understanding that the archetypical GT LE isn't everyone's cup of maple syrup, let me divulge to you the laundry list of standard equipment that comes with this sled. As far as creature comforts go, a passenger on the GT Limited is treated like snowmo royalty. There's a near ergo-perfect passenger saddle, which allows the passenger to move around and participate in balancing the sled when ridden briskly. The saddle is fully heated front and rear. The passenger also receives rear handhold heaters as well as an RCA plug. The adjustable rear backrest is ridiculously supportive and comfortable on day-long pulls. We may not have discovered the well-thought-out aerodynamic protection that's provided by the GT LE if it weren't for the abundance of -20 weather we've had so far this winter. Those weird-looking little clear plastic wings fitted to the trailing edges of the G4 side panels might not impress you at 25 degrees Fahrenheit, but we're here to tell you at -30, the GT Limited is the hands-down warmest ride in our 2022 fleet. We need to discuss what's under the hood of this particular Grand Touring. This is our first exposure to Rotax's all-new 900cc 130 horsepower turbo engine. The 130 horsepower turbo in this GT Limited, while not intercooled, delivers a solid lump of trail power torque off engagement. Power from engagement to shift RPM is easy to modulate and seamless. This 130 turbo does not use Skidoo's new cable throttle system, standard on the Turbo R. Interestingly, throttle response from this 130 horsepower turbo is not laggy, provided Sport mode is selected. You know how much we've complained about throttle lag on four-stroke Skidoos. This 130 horsepower turbo engine and the new Turbo R with its combination cable and electronic throttle pretty much completely redeemed Skidoo's former reputation as it related to throttle lag. I would be remiss if I didn't mention the civility of the 130 Turbo in the GT Limited. Engagement is low, and when operated at trail speeds, RPM rarely, if ever, exceeds 5,500 to achieve satisfying corner-to-corner squirts. The whole riding experience is amplified by the Grand Touring SNOWTRAX with Ice Ripper studs. This is not an intangible feature, but rather a real enhancement to two-up riding. Along with the SNOWTRAX, this limited package comes with this cool 7.8-inch color LED screen, BRP Connect, and this sweet titanium finish. There's an old adage which says nothing exceeds like excess. To a degree, this is part of the continued success and acceptance of the Grand Touring brand. There is virtually nothing missing that a seasoned touring pilot could ask for. Simply put, the Grand Touring Limited in model year 2022 continues to deliver incomparable two-up comfort and convenience.